quelques secondes que la... OK, parfait. So, good morning again, everyone. So, after the presentation of Carlos Lorenzo, we move to Morocco with Robert Sala, who will talk about the evolution of early and middle Pleistocene human settlement in Eastern Morocco. Robert, I give you the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Robert Sala, professor at Universitat Rovira i Virgili in Tarragona, and one of the IPs of this project in the Eastern Morocco, in the region of Oujda. We will be introducing this project and the first results of it, and some ideas about these results and what imply the results we have up to now. Please, next slide, please. Well, this will be, as I said, something about this project in Eastern Morocco. But for the final discussion, I will be also introducing some data from another project we have in northeastern Algeria, and some issues about the peopling of the Sahara. Next slide, please. This is the title of the project we have, and I'm developing with Gemma Chacon of IPES and Hassan Auraga from University of Oujda. The evolution of human settlement pattern dynamics during the Quaternary in Eastern Morocco, in the region of Ain Beni Matar Gefeit, in the Gerada province. These are two areas in the same fluvial lacustrine series that is situated in the region of the Atlas and taking part of the high plateaus of the Maghreb. Next slide, please. You can see here the region, the position of this region in the high plateaus basin, and are framed by the different ranges of the Atlas in the eastern part of Morocco, very close to the border with Algeria. Next slide, please. This is the general geology of the region. This is a large basin with Miocene, Pliocene, Quaternary sediments. In the central and lower part of this map, in blue you can see the Jurassic mountains that are framing this area. Next slide, please. This is the part corresponding to the Miocene, Pliocene, and Quaternary infilling of this basin, and where we have the different sites, both paleontological and archaeological. Next slide, please. This is the general view of the Gefeit area of this basin, framed by the Jurassic in the mountains of Oujda, and in the lower part of the picture you can see some of the Pleistocene sediments infilling the basin. And this is the basin. No, you can go. This basin is today marked by the fluvial system of Charf, Hay, and Za rivers that are tributaries of the Moluya river, that is the main fluvial system in Eastern Morocco. Next slide, please. You can see here the different units of the Pleo-Quaternary series. The first unit is marked by fluvial and conglomeratic sediments, and from unit 2 to the upper part is marked by lacustrine and lake sediments. Next slide. That is and the second part, just for the discussion, we will be introducing some data from a site in Gauss Kefsefian, in northeastern Algeria. Also, that is important, also in these high plateaus and saltwater lakes region in Maghreb. This is a map of all these regions, high plateaus and Salt Lake. Sebkhas is the term, is the specific term for this kind of salty lakes. Sebkhas, the current Sebkhas that are marking this region. Next slide, please. Good. Then within this project, we have produced a first inventory and cartography of the paleontological and archaeological sites. We are also devoted to the fulfilling of a chronological and geological frame for the recovered paleontological and archaeological remains within a multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary research. A third question that is important also as a part of our activity as researchers, that is to promote the cultural heritage as drivers for economic development and involving the local community in our own work. Finally, and this will be the final part of this presentation, we are especially interested in major paradigms that are now being developed in the Maghrebian region. First, about first hominin settlement, and it is important to mind the recent discoveries in Ain Boucherit, Ain Agnesh sites in the region of Sétif in Algeria. We are also interested in the relationship between human dispersals and settlement of the region with climatic and ecological cyclicity of the Sahara, that what was been described as green Sahara, and finally how to apply the what is being currently proposed, this model of Pan-African evolution of hominin populations. Next slide, please. This is a list of the disciplines that we are applying in this project. You have the since geology and geochronology up to lyric studies and zooarchaeology, and every analysis of the record, both paleontological and archaeological. Next slide, please. This is just to illustrate the work in some of these disciplines like micropaleontology. Next slide, please. And geochronology, in which we have been taking samples for paleomagnetism, IAZR, thermoluminescence, 14C. Next slide, please. And these are some of the recent publications. We will see some of them also in the next slides. Next, please. This is one of the main pictures we will be showing. That is this region. You can see along the fluviatile system of Charf, Heidza rivers. We have along this system we have the different sites. In this map, you have Miocene sites, paleontological Miocene sites. That is Gefeit 1. You have early Pleistocene. You have Middle Pleistocene, Upper Pleistocene, and also Holocene sites. And these are mainly 3 paleontological sites, one from Miocene, another in the border, in the frontier between Pliocene and early Pleistocene, that is Gefeit 4, and the third one is paleontological sites in El Hay, that is from Upper Pleistocene. And in all this inventory, we have only one site presenting both archaeological and paleontological material. That is Gefeit 3. Sorry, Tahia 3. Next slide, please. This is for you to see the position of this basin within Eastern Morocco. Next slide, please. And these are the different sites along the quaternary chronology. We have the Gefeit 2 and 4, 1 and 4, 2 sites, as I said, just in the Gauss-Matuyama frontier. We have all the one sites, Mod 1 sites of Gara Sultana in Tabuda, around 2 million years. These sites are now being dated, and we hope to have some dates in the forthcoming months. We have an Acheulean site around half a million years old. There is the site of Ouadrabat. We have a lot of sites from Middle Stone Age of Mode 3, and we have also later Stone Age sites at Antifracine, Tahia 4, Suina, and Gara Sultana. And lastly, we have some sites also coming from Holocene. Next slide, please. This is the site of Gefeit 4-2. That is one of the main sites in our region, and nowadays this is the main paleontological site for the Gauss-Matuyama border in Morocco. Next, please. It has been excavated during 2018 and 2019, and as you may know, since then it has been impossible for us to come back to this site, and we have recovered there a rich fossil complex that is marked especially by the presence of Hipparion and the absence of Equus. And only that datum is proposing a dating earlier than 2.3 million years. That is the date of the entrance of Equus in Africa. Next slide, please. Along with these these Hipparion fossils, we have this list that is a quite long list for a site that has been excavated only in two campaigns. We have jackal, hyena, Dinophelis, great felid, perhaps Somotherium, we don't know up to now, gazelle, small Tragelaphilus, larger Tragelaphilus, Alcelafin. You have here a long list of all these species, within which the main one that serve us to date the site in waiting for a geochronological datum is the presence of Hipparion and the lack of Equus. Next slide, please. These are some of the papers recently published, and about the main remains recovered in Gefeit. Above you have the remains of Golunda oregi, one species of micromammal that is also in accordance with the presence of Hipparion and the lack of Equus, because it indicates also the dating about Gauss-Matuyama border. And below you the previous, please, the previous. And below you have the remains of a macaca that we have recovered also in this site. Next slide now. And another species that has been published is this Xenophelis. Next slide, please. And if we go to the early Pleistocene and the mode 1 sites, we have the sites of Gara Sultana and Ain Tabuda that have delivered us a rich collection of lithic tools corresponding, as I said before, to the early Pleistocene, waiting for a precise dating. We have stratigraphically positioned these sites within the early Pleistocene. Next slide, please. It has been the production of a new geological section in this region that has allowed us to place these sites within the early Pleistocene. Next slide, please. This is the Ain Tabuda, the second of these sites containing mode 1 technology. With the typical characteristics of this mode 1, that is orthogonal flaking, massive cores, and flakes that are not usually retouched, and an interest for the edges of these non-retouched flakes. Next slide, please. And we can pass through through time until the Middle Pleistocene. You can see we have many gaps. We can present sites for every stage in the Quaternary, but we have many gaps and important gaps, as this is the case between the mode 1 sites and the Middle Pleistocene mode 2 sites of this wet rabbit that, as I said before, corresponds to a dating around 500,000. That is a site synchronous to the rhinoceros cave in Casablanca. It is among one of the oldest sites in Morocco, with the exception, of course, of Thomas Quarry, that is 1 million years old. Next, please. And in the frontier of Middle to Upper Pleistocene, we have some of the mode 3 sites, as it is wet sharf. That is one site recovered in situ, and where we have a rich collection of flint tools that has allowed us to describe some kind of technology that is not strictly characterized. We are unable to say if it is close to Levallois or close to Aterian. It is not so well characterized. It seems to be a kind of technology without a special characterization. But along with that site, we have other Middle Stone Age sites with clear characteristics corresponding to Aterian or Mousterian. Next, please. As it is the case, you have here Sabalgar. It is another site that contains Levallois tools and contains also Aterian tools. All these sites are now under analysis for dating, for precise dating, using especially thermoluminescence. Next slide, please. Another view of this site of Sabelgar 1. It is placed over a natural bed of big flint boulders, and the human populations are being exploiting these big boulders of flint, and this is because we have a very rich with thousands of pieces, a very rich ensemble in these sites, both Sabelgar 1 and Sabelgar 2, that we will be also showing now. Next, please. This is a site that has been excavated, and where we are, of course, making every analysis to make sure about the preservation of this site. Next, please. This is Sabelgar 2, as I said also before, and then this is another place in the same valley of Sabelgar, and also in connection with the flint bedrock, and also a very rich site with many Levallois cores and tools. Next, please. These are just pictures of the excavation and the richness of this site. Next, please. And you have here two of these two sites, and a picture showing the big boulders of flint just below it, right, and another level of flint with some with some rock not so big than the previous one. Next, please. And the only site, as I said, preserving both lithics and faunal remains. This is Tahia 3. We will be excavating that this next month of March. What we have up to now is just a test pit that we performed in 2018. And we are confident on being discovering more more remains in this site, as I said, in next month of March. Next slide, please. And beyond what I proposed you, that is early and middle Pleistocene, this is just to make you know all the other sites we have, and that are giving us remains of other stages. In this case, the later Stone Age, Ibero-Mauritian, in sites that are very well recovered and very well preserved, as you can see in the pictures below. Next slide, please. This is another site of this of the same period, the later Stone Age. Next, please. And we are dating these sites, as you can see. It is around around Drias. That is the peopling of these sites within a hard climatic period. And we are also performing other analyses to know in detail the landscape, the kind of landscape that has been peopled by these populations through palynology, charcoal, and other analysis. What about lithic raw materials? I said that the main rock used here is flint in different qualities, coming both from these levels of big boulders formed during Pliocene and early Pleistocene, and also from Jurassic levels, but are also some other kind of rocks. But the main one is, as I said, the flint. Next, please. You can see here some of these different types of flint, of neogen, neogen origin, or Carboniferous, or Triassic and Jurassic. Next, please. You can see here some of these blocks of flint. Above at right, you can see the big boulders that I mentioned sometimes, and in the middle and lower part, you can see another level. These are different levels of silicification within the neogen section. Next, please. And we have also a Nolocene occupation of the region, where we have some combustion structures for which we are not sure up to now which were the use of these structures. There are many all around the valley of Gefeit, and they are just charcoal and limestone blocks in some kind of deposit and of concave deposit, but we don't know the use of these structures. Next, please. Other sites from Holocene with the presence of mollusk and industry. Next, please. And this is just to close the part devoted to the inventory of these sites, minding that we have sites both paleontological and archaeological from the Miocene, but especially from the limit of Gauss-Matuyama to the Holocene. Next, please. And we can trace the human history adapted to a single landscape. And it is one of our main questions in this project. Next, please. Next. Good. We will pass now to a second part of this presentation devoted to a little discussion about the paleoecology, about the landscapes in which this human lived, and what we can learn about the cyclicity of this landscape. Good. Through the can we go to the thank you. Through the analysis of Gefeit 4, we have recovered and described in the frontier of Gauss-Matuyama, that is the frontier between Pliocene and Pleistocene. We have described a landscape marked by a savanna with trees, with a small gallery forests, and water spots, both in the form of ponds or the form of small rivers. Next, please. For the early Pleistocene, where we have not up to now faunal remains, the palynology, plant walks, biomarkers, and ostracods that are ongoing. We expect to have a picture of the landscape during the first human settlement in the region. The first data we have about this is allowing us to propose that during early Pleistocene, the landscape is similar, was similar to that of Gefeit 4. Next, please. What about the times of Wet Rabbit 500,000 years ago? What we know up to now, we had an open and dry environment with arid cycles of in the landscape, with, as I said here, rapid succession of arid wet episodes, and this seems to be the landscape and the ecology of the mode 2 peoplers. Next, please. And we will see some questions about the relationship of human presence in the Maghreb, especially in Morocco and Algeria, in relationship with the ecological cycles, what have been termed as green or arid Sahara. Next, please. This is the current Maghrebian and the current world ecology. The Sahara is a desert. The widest desert in the world. Next, please. And this is the current ecology in our region. Next, please. And this is another picture showing this reality. And this is important because the region where we are, in Eastern Morocco, in the region of south of Oujda, is just in the border between the wet Maghreb, that is the Maghreb close to the coast, to the both Mediterranean and Atlantic coast, and the Sahara. That we are on the fringe between both. And it makes very interesting for us, this region, because we can trace, perhaps we are working on that, we can trace the, how to say, the cyclicity of the Saharan region. We can trace the behavior of humans in relation with that. Perhaps we can trace the presence of human in during Green Sahara, the more wet cycles, or even we can have also the presence of human settlers during drier cycles, for which our region can be some kind of refuge. Next, please. This is just to illustrate what is the study of these climatic conditions, and you may know that the cycle of the winds and the precipitation on these regions is basic for the cycles of humidity and drying cycles. Next, please. And what we have is that at least for Gefeit 4, we have a cycle of part of humid cycle, perhaps related to a green Sahara moment. We will see if the precise geochronological dating is allowing us such a correspondence. If not, at least we have the presence of some water points in the vicinity of this place. Next, please. What about the middle Pleistocene? We have another site in El Hay with faunal remains. Next, please. That is showing us the presence of two species, a bos and a rhinoceros, that are two species that have reached the Maghreb during Green Sahara cycles, when the Sahara was humid enough for all these species to cross it, showing us that these remains came from at least one cycle connected to Green Sahara. Next, please. And we have also to have in mind what about the first human settlers. As I said, we have not a precise dating for the early Pleistocene Mode 1 sites in Morocco. We will have in the forthcoming months a precise date, and we will be able to state if Morocco has been peopled at the same time of Algeria, having in mind that the site of Ain Boucherit, Ain Ahnash in Sétif, in Algeria, is in the same high plateaus region that Ain Boulimatar Gefeit. Then for us, we have a great confidence in being able to trace also a peopling as old as in this site of Ain Boucherit. Then we expect to have also sites around 2 and 3 million years ago. Next, please. There are many records around the Sahara and in the fringes of Sahara that are very interesting, especially the group of Tabal Balat, Ashangit, and all the sites around the Saura River inside the Sahara, in a hyperarid region today, and for which we have not precise dating, but we know that it comes from the Middle Pleistocene, perhaps the final stage of Middle Pleistocene, but with a special behavior in the production of hand axes, and the production of clippers. What has been termed the Tabal Bala industry. And for us, it's important to analyze, to study why we have something so singular, because this is a kind of industry that it can be traced in other regions. Is especially of this region, and we have not any other record of this kind of production. Then can we trace that during a cycle of Green Sahara? This is for us important. If not, how to understand the presence of human people, settlers in the Sahara, in the very Sahara during the last part of Middle Pleistocene. Next slide, please. And what about the extension of Aterian in all the Sahara? You can see the map above, where with the extension of Aterian industry that is from the coast of Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia up to the very center of the Sahara. How we can explain this presence of Aterian? For us, is just because the extension of the humid regions in this current Sahara Desert. And see below the extension of Ibero-Mauritian. The Ibero-Mauritian is not extended into the Sahara. Then both are singular cultures in Maghreb that have absolutely different territorial dispersal. Then, for sure, we can say now that the Aterian has been developed at least during MIS 5 for us to explain why it is extended to the Sahara, while we know well the Ibero-Mauritian is restricted to the MIS 2, then an hyper-arid cycle in Northern Africa. Then it is difficult for this population to expand within the Sahara. Next, please. Next slide, please. Next. And now we will go through the Algeria region of Ngaouz and Kefsefian. Next, please. It doesn't work? No. Thanks. This is the other side. We are now out of Morocco. We are in the northeastern region of Algeria, to show something about the mode 2 in Ngaouz and Kefsefian. These sites placed recovered in travertinic sediments. Next, please. You can see the map of Algeria with the place of Ngaouz Kefsefian, just in the high plateaus, also in the same region of where we have in the other side of this region we have in Benimatar Gefeit. Next, please. These two sites, Ngaouz and Kefsefian, are close to the Shot or Sebha El Hodna. This Sebha today is restricted to an area to the more the more deep area of this region, while during Middle Pleistocene we propose that this Sebha was larger than today and be very close to the Ngaouz and Kefsefian sites. Next, please. This is the region today. That the travertinic, the Middle Pleistocene travertines over the Miocene sediments. Next, please. You can see the region in the picture below. You can see the different localities we have in the Ngaouz area, up to 5 localities around this travertinic platform. All these localities have mode 2 industry and are synchronous. Next, please. You can see here some of these tools, classical mode 2 from Africa. Next. This is the site that has been excavated during 2011 and 12. Next. You have here some of the pictures of this site during excavation. Next. And some of the tools we recovered in classical hand axes and clippers. Next. Next, please. Next. This one. Yes. Good. This is the main part of our discussion about the peopling of the Sahara and the region of the high plateaus in Maghreb. This comes from a paper that has been published just this year by Drake and colleagues, showing the reconstruction of the lake region of the Sahara that was active in the more humid periods of Quaternary, especially Ms5 and Holocene. This was the landscape of the Sahara, and that allowed the peopling of the Maghreb directly from East Africa. We have to have in mind that a wet Sahara is a very large extension of territory to be peopled by humans, and a very rich landscape for every species. Then in this reconstruction, we have in the northern part some of the lakes of the high plateaus much larger than they are today. And one of these lakes is the Harbi lake in Algeria. Today is restricted to Algeria, but during Quaternary was also extended to our region of Ain Beni Matar Gefeit, and is the same for El Hodna, that was part of the Shots lake system of Tunisia. Next, please. This is another picture, but this is from another paper of 2008, showing by Drake the possibilities of human dispersals through all this region. For us, it's important the Paleohodna, the Paleo Lake of Ain Beni Matar, and also in relation to Tashengit, the region of Ahmed Muidir Mega Lake. Next, please. Another paper published recently shows the reconstruction of an ancient river. This river called Taman Rasset, that was flowing from the inner part of Algeria and Mauritania through the seashore in the Atlantic. This river is of major importance also for the peopling of all this region. Mind the sites of Adrar in Mauritania, mind the sites of Tashingit Tabelbala in Algeria, that are both related to this basin. Next, please. This is the canyon of this river in the Atlantic. Next, please. And this can be the picture of Africa during a Green Sahara cycle. Next, please. And if we combine the researchers by Drake and the researchers about the river of Tamanrasset. If we combine that, but this is just hypothetic because they are both some competing positions, but if we combine both, we have a picture of Saharan and Maghrebian Africa that helps us to understand the peopling, the very early peopling of this region, and the extension of some of the phases, as it is the Aterian or the Acheulean. Next, please. And in the case of Ngaus, Kefsefian, and other Acheulean, important Acheulean sites in Algeria, like Tiodain, we have just the position of these sites within the Chots-Hodna lake system. And Tiodain in the central Hogar today, an hyper-arid region, is very close to the river system that flowed during the wet cycles. This river were flowing from Hogar until the Chots region. Then allowing the human people, settlers, to go through these regions without any problem. This only for us, only this reconstruction of these lakes is allowing us to understand the presence of all these Mode 2 or Mode 3 sites within the Sahara Desert. Next, please. Another view to show just the difference of today's landscape at right and the Pleistocene landscape at left. And this is just a last picture to show you the connection of Mode 2 or Acheulean sites with these systems of lakes. This is the way to understand the peopling of the desert as we know it. Next, please. And a closing picture. That is the Green Sahara cycles. All the reconstruction of the eccentricity of the and climatic cycles of the Earth, and the point where we have the three singularities of the Saharan archaeology. The Tabel Bala, for which we have not a clear dating, then it is an hypothesis to propose its developing during Ms. 7. We don't know. What we know well is the beginning of the Aterian just at the end of the Middle Pleistocene, that is during Ms. 5. And this is important for us to connect this Ms. 5 with the extension of Aterian inside the Sahara. And finally, the Ibero-Mauritian dated to Ms. 2, and this is why the Ibero-Mauritian is restricted to the seashore and the regions close to seashore in Maghreb. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm open to answer you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert. I will stop the registration and stop the sharing the screen.